GTT.
Not sure if your audio sounds professional? A sound check by George the Tech removes all doubts and explains the next steps. Audiobooks, podcasts, or voiceovers. For content creators, we do it all. New customers get 20% off with coupon code XPTO.
George the Tech.
I tell people there are three components to being a good voice actor. One is have talent. Two is to take direction well. And three is to be a nice guy in the sense of read the room. If people like to chat, then get ready to chat. If people want to get down to business, get down to business. And that, like you said, there's some rapport. It's gone from developing a rapport to actually developing a relationship.
George the Tech.
Do you have a hard out? Do you have a time? Do you have a session booking? When's your next thing?
No, not until 2:00.
Okay, all right, great.
So yeah,
I used to try to keep these short, but the older the guest is, the longer we talk.
so
we're going to be here a while.
Well, we haven't even. It's been 18 minutes, and we haven't even done anything yet. See, that's what we do. We chat. We converse. We ramble on.
We ramble on. I'm sure you've got a lot
of
of clients you work with on a regular basis, and there's probably a fair amount of rambling.
Oh my God. Well, some of them are funny because I know the session itself takes like 3 minutes, but I book out like a half hour because I know we're going to talk about golf. We're going to talk about.
Chat.
Oh my God. Totally.
Well, that's important. There should be.
It is.
I know some sessions they're very tightly scheduled. There's a lot of people on the session. It's da-da-da. But this is what recording was like before, in the before times.
Yeah.
Or in the before home studio times. It was a social thing, right?
I tell people there are three components to being a good voice actor. One is have talent. Two is to take direction well. And three is to be a nice guy in the sense of read the room. If people like to chat, then get ready to chat. If people want to get down to business, get down to business. And that, like you said, there's some rapport. It's gone from developing a rapport to actually developing a relationship, kind of a thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And by the way,
people overlook that.
I'm hanging out with Chris Fries today.
Aren't you a lucky guy?
And so it's always fun just starting with a conversation. I hate those formal introductions. Ugh, so boring. I'm hosting an interview, so I have to say a few things. So today I've got with me someone who I have a great rapport with because we have a long working relationship. We've known each other for well over 15 years.
Yeah.
It could be 16, 17 years. I mean, we go way back. Yeah. But this is Chris Fries. Chris is as a voice actor. I've watched his career grow, and it's been so gratifying and fun watching his successes. And we'll talk a little bit about the kinds of work he's booking because he's one person I can ask. So what are you doing lately? And feel pretty good about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always something you ask a voice actor because maybe they're not booking. But Chris, you've been booking, haven't you?
It's been a good run. It has. There's the ebb and flow of it, but some days there's not enough hours in the day to handle the stuff, and then the other days are good because I can work on my golf swing a lot more. I have more time for that. But yeah, lately it's been pretty good. And a variety of projects. I've been doing and maintaining the America's Best campaign, the Voice of the Owl, and adding new campaigns. There's a IBM campaign that just came out, and a Jack Daniels campaign that came out, and then some regional ones. There's a Academy Sporting Goods out of the South and East Coast that just came out, and then the recurring ones, and then the promos with the cable networks and stuff like that. So
when did commercial voiceover work? Because it seems that commercial voiceover work has become a dominant part of your work. Like, would you say that's the majority of your? Yeah,
I think if I were to kind of break it down, I'd say 2/3 of my work is commercial, and then the other third is kind of split between promo, in-show narration, video games, some ADR,
cornucopia.
things like that. A plethora, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say 2/3. But it was funny. The first thing out of the gate, I was told, get your commercial demo, get yourself in good standing commercially, and then from there, I was able to expand. I didn't realize there was kind of a general pattern, but I think most people would start there and then branch off and ultimately live in a world of, say, animation or trailer or whatever they end up getting into. But yeah, me, it was commercial to start, and then it maintained, but that allowed me to be able to hopefully impress my agents enough to say, okay, he's doing well with commercial. Let's throw him a bone in promo now. Or, hey, he kind of sounds like he might be okay in video games. Let's let him try some of that.
He turned out to be more versatile than we thought he was going to be.
It really was. And it was a combination of the agent believing in me and thinking, okay, I think he could do this, and me kind of being a little bit of the squeaky wheel to get the grease, because I'd tell my agent early on, I'd say, hey, I'd love to do some promo and or this, that, or the other. I think it was promo was kind of the thing I really wanted to get into more. And they were like, well, yeah, sure, okay. But it was a tough nut to crack. It's like, just because you say you want to get into promo, it's like, okay, sure, try it, and networks have their favorites. They have their stable of talent that they use. Why would they go and use somebody new?
Why on earth did you want to do promo when you were already booking commercial work? Isn't promo more stressful, more time sensitive, on and on, more competitive, all these things? Why the heck did you want to do?
Yes.
Why did you want to get into promo? Was it just something romantic about it, or it's just one of those conquests?
I think the way you put it, the romantic about it, it's something that I always thought was so cool to be able to do. And I didn't know that much about the world, but I knew enough where a good friend of mine and a good friend of yours and client, Scott Rummel, he was and is doing tons of promo, tons of trailer, and the two toughest nuts to crack in voiceover. And he'd let me sit in on some of his sessions early on in my career, which was really great.
Cool.
To be able to just hear what the relationship and the rapport and the give and take with the director and the actor. And I learned so much. I was so grateful. And yeah, I loved the act of doing something in, like, say, a comedy or a sports or something like that. I just love the versatility and range and of different projects. And I also love the fact that it catered to my short attention span because commercials can be quick, but some of them, if it's a new campaign, tons of scripts and stuff, they could be, anywhere from an hour to 4 hours. The Academy Sports, there was 10 new spots in this campaign for the Academy Sporting Goods store. And there was lots of scripts and lots of like, well, let's get it this way. Let's also get it that way. Because, the ad agency needed to get approval from the marketing department.
They want to cover their
them.
Bases.
Totally.
Or CYA.
CYA.
A lot of CYA. The bigger the budget, the bigger the stakes, the more CYAing there is going on, right?
Very, very much so. And so some of them can be like that. But then once you start to get into the groove of a campaign, commercial campaign, some of them will be like, okay, Chris, just do what you do. I have nothing to offer. And then I would just boom, and we'd be done in 15 minutes. But the promo ones, yeah.
That's what I mean. That's, your job is to make their job easy, right?
Yes. Yeah, actually, a very good point, because it's like, for me, for a voice actor, booking the job is the culmination of all my hard work. For them, the producer, that's like step 12 of a 24-step process, and they just want to get to the next thing.
You're a cog in a machine.
Totally.
Right? Yeah.
So they want to get done with me as generally as quickly as possible. So I like to acquiesce to their request if that's the case,
Yeah.
and give them that. So that way they think of like, yeah, that Chris guy, he wasn't bad to work with. He pleasant, good, takes direction, and he gets me in and out of there quick, so I can have time for lunch and get home early or whatever their plans are.
Right.
But the promo is all about quick turnaround and that. So
Right.
I really like that. So when I started to get into,
You don't agonize over
oh yeah, no,
like commercial,
no.
like that 4-hour session, which is, an outlier probably, but hour, 2 hours
Yeah.
is pretty common, right?
Oh yeah.
How much
Very.
of that time are you are you actually voice acting, and how much of that time are you waiting?
That's a good point. There is a lot of downtime in some of those longer ones because they will edit kind of on the fly.
Yeah.
So I have my manicure kit that I keep in my booth for those long sessions, and I have to say, I think I have the best manicured nails in the
All
business.
right, well, you can only manicure so much. So next we're going to get you some knitting needles,
Yeah, right.
maybe a crochet set.
I like that. I like that.
Or maybe I can send you my books. You can balance my books while you wait.
See, anything to occupy the time, but it is.
But there's a
I'm
lot of
sitting
that,
in
right?
there.
In commercial, there's a lot of patience, and it's waiting for approval. It's yeah. There's a fair amount of that, right?
The newer the campaign, the newer the spot, then the more the CYA and the double checking and the making sure
Right.
the longer the campaign, the more I've been working with that particular ad agency or director or producer, creative director, then the less it's just like, yeah, we got enough. We got some options. Give me a couple ABCs. Let's call it a day. And it's like,
That's just so. What is your longest running commercial campaign that you've been doing? I mean, either that you've done nonstop, or maybe that you started, left, came back, or whatever.
There's a couple that are there. I've been doing Dodge. That one might be ending. It's hard to tell because as far as some of the campaigns, they're kind of now going into more electronic vehicles.
Experimenting.
Yeah. And that one, I haven't done a new one for them, but that one had been on again, off again for about 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
America's Best and Kubota Tractors are probably 8 and 9 years running.
And America's Best
Chevron.
is the character. That's the owl character, right?
Yeah, the optometry place where the owl wears glasses and that.
That seems to
it's
be...
not just a better deal.
Yeah.
It's America's Best. It's that nasally kind of guy right there.
That seems
right
to
in
be
there.
like, I mean, when a production goes to when they get to the point where they create a character, right? That probably took months of design meetings and then they create the character, right? And they finally find the voice for it. That's probably means you're going to be around for a while, right?
I had no idea when they first cast this what this was going to turn into, and they didn't even say that it was going to be an owl. They were just describing specs for this character, and the point of view that I kind of came up with was sarcastic, smart aleck.
He's a smarty guy. He's a smart. He's got an owl. He's got glasses. You think of that. It's just I don't know what was the branding. It might have been Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pops. Remember the owl in those commercials? And he was a wise guy, and he was a professor and all this stuff.
Yeah, boy.
Right? That's like something that sticks in your... That's just one great ad campaign 25 years later, inspiring another, right? I'm sure that's...
that's
even
a
if you
good
didn't
point.
mean to homage to that, it's in the back of your head. You were
Something
watching those
subliminal.
commercials when you were a kid and teenager, right?
I would
Probably
not
40 years later, actually, now I think about it.
Right, man, we're getting old.
Yeah.
I just smart aleck, and then how much was it subconscious or subliminal from everything I just absorbed over the years? There you go.
That is experience. There's no substitute for that, really.
Right.
But it seems like that when you book a commercial and you end up being a character, that's pretty awesome because it's not likely to be a fleeting campaign when they go through all that work and cast that. you become the identity of that. It's like the comedian
Gilbert Godfrey.
Thank you. When he
Yes.
cast the Aflac duck,
Yes.
right? That
Yes.
was absolutely something identified with his unique voice and everything,
Yeah.
and it stayed that
Yeah.
way for forever. So that's quite a get. That's pretty amazing.
I had no idea, and one of the interesting things about that particular campaign is when they film new commercials for that, they fly me out to, now they've been shooting, the last batch was out in Atlanta, but they take me out to the commercial set again, when I first booked it, they said, okay, you booked the America's Best thing, and they're asking you to come out to the commercial set for the shoot. And they told me I was going to be an owl and stuff.
Okay.
And I was like, okay. So I'm going to be in the commercial. Yeah, you're in the commercial. You're the owl. And they want me on the set. I'm normally post-production guy, and so I'm all of a sudden thinking, am I going to be wearing an owl costume?
Or are you going to be
something?
like on set in a giant green leotard with silver balls stuck all over you?
Yeah, I'm thinking, oh man. Well, I thought the worst. I thought I was going to be like at a used car dealership, with a sign, hey, come on in. I thought this was going to be so cheesy. I don't know.
You didn't know. You just don't know. You take a chance.
So they had me go out to the set, and instead they'd have me do the voice of the owl
on set.
But they'd have I was on set, but they'd have like a taxidermy owl on camera, so that the actors were looking at something, and then they'd CGI the owl after the fact. But I would then just say my lines with the on-camera actor, and it was just take after take with that, and I realized, oh, okay, so this was fine. I thought they could have a script supervisor do this, though.
Right.
Why do they have me with it? Well, I didn't understand how a commercial set worked. If I thought VO commercial sessions went long, well, on set camera or commercials go really like all day, or at least half a day
usually time
for this.
consuming.
And talk about takes. So as I'm doing my take after take, I'd do the same thing, and I'd read it as scripted, and so then I'd start to kind of, I think maybe the persona of the owl started coming out, the wisecracking, smart aleck, sarcastic guy. So I'd started adding these little ad libs to the ends of lines, very tongue-in-cheek kind of thing. And the ad agency and the director was loving it.
I was going to say, was there some chuckling around you? Like,
oh, yeah. And then the on-camera actor would kind of feed off of that and then throw in their own little button or something to it. And it started to change the whole complexion of the spot. And they loved it. I could have very easily been scolded and said, stick to the script, Chris.
Of course, right, sure. But you read the room.
They were... Well, and I read the room, and they seemed, and I was really bored because it was like, really
very repetitive,
so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do this, and I added this little sarcastic quip, and they just loved it. Then it was like, all of a sudden, I felt like I was on an improv stage, and they're like, more, give me more, give me something different. I'm like,
holy crap. Were you starting to break a sweat at that point now? You're like, oh man.
Well, now I'm like, in between takes, I'm feverishly thinking of like little lines to jot down on the script as like, ooh, that's funny. Ooh,
it's like going to a dinner at your kid's school, a fundraiser, and you want to be charming. So you're like, I got to have some jokes or something to talk about.
Oh my God. Yeah. So now, but it ended up going really well. And ever since then, they had brought me back every shoot to go be on set, which is always fun. And the first time I kind of got the sense that I guess this thing is kind of a big deal, because I'd be walking on set and there'd be like people staring at me. And I'm thinking that,
and it's not just because you're large.
It's not. It's not that. I thought
tall. I meant to say tall. You're tall.
Thank you. Although I put on a couple of pounds over the years. But anyway, then they even apologized. They said, "Oh, I'm sorry for staring, but you're the owl." And I'm like, I guess I am, but I didn't think that was. I kind of enjoyed the anonymity of this.
Oh no.
But apparently,
especially after this,
he's got a following.
Especially after this interview.
Yeah, of course.
Your
right?
anonymity is ruined for life, man.
Yeah,
We
I
get
know.
tens
So-
and tens of views.
Tens of tens. I can count on both hands the number.
Well, I'll tell you, when I see those spots, I'm going to have a fully different perspective in my mind's eye of what's going on in those
Yeah,
commercials,
yeah.
knowing you're right there on set and you're right off frame and you're doing that.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool. And that's just so encouraging. And so you're saying to this day, with all the modern technology and mocap and da.
Yeah.
It's still a traditional kind of old school, dare I say, production thing. Fly you in, you're on set, you're reading the lines,
Yeah.
and they still do it that way. That's awesome. And it's still done
Yeah.
in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, they've just recently shifted. They used to have them all out in California, but I guess it's getting too expensive to film
Atlanta's getting a lot of
out here.
Atlanta's also building like crazy stages, and it's becoming a huge production hub in its own right. Has been for a while now.
Yeah, yeah, very evident.
Yeah.
Very evident.
Oh, that's so cool. I love hearing that story. I mean, you and I have spent a lot of time
Yeah.
chatting, but I never heard that, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
One last thing on that, something that came to my mind. Do you remember at all what that first ad lib was? Or maybe what the gist of it was?
There was something about I was perched above a guy's car, and he was doubting me as far as like, you can get a really good deal at America's Best. And there was something about leave it to me, I won't steer you wrong or something. And then he's like, okay. And then I was thinking about, and then I think I might leave something else on your car on my way out or something. And it was just that little thing that they didn't use that.
Yeah, probably
but
not.
It was maybe the potty humor not so big with the. But it started with the potty humor.
Wow, you really swung for the fences on that one.
I really did.
But you just
that
couldn't
one
help.
Really got me.
I totally could identify with that. I think I would have done the exact same thing in this situation. You got comfortable, you've been on set for a while, you have the job, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you're like, let's have a little fun. And it's like, of course, it's an owl sitting over a car. It's the obvious thing. At some point, the bird's going to shit on the car.
See, it was just, I was going for that low-hanging fruit. And lowbrow humor at the same time.
That should be on your business card. Well, it's so funny. I have a great mentor that has been coaching me for a while. He's a great guy. And he's told me, he's like, you don't talk enough about in your interviews. You're George the Tech. You just don't get into the tech stuff enough with your guests. We want to know what's in that studio that of the guest you're talking to. You need to talk about that more. So I'm taking that cue. But first, a plug for the Passport VO. Now, I'm going to mention this thing really quickly because one problem we have right now is getting them is very difficult. There are very few of them available coming soon because we had a batch that got released after they got refurbished after production issues from the first go round. And so if you want to get one of these guys, you need to go nag Centrance. Go to centrance.com, send them an email and say, I want a Passport VO. If you don't know what this is, it's not for you. If you do know what it is, you know what I'm talking about. And if you want to know more about what I'm talking about, just head over to my go to my YouTube channel or the Pro Audio Suite podcast YouTube channel, and we have countless videos about the Passport VO. So there's my plug, being professional.
I've got one. I've got the more slimmed down version of that.
You've got one of these,
me.
Right?
That is exactly
which is another great product from Centrance. This is the MicPort Pro. So the Passport is sort of the MicPort Pro with a lot more muscle and brains behind it. But at the end of the day, these sound the same, and they do a lot of the same things. This one just does a bunch of other little magic tricks. But yes, great products.
Yep.
Centrance.com.
Very much
so. Now I have to reset my brain again because I interrupted my own train of thought to mention that. Oh, okay. So everybody wants to know about the tech. A lot of people do. That's why they watch the George the Tech channel. So let's flash back just a little bit. So when you first worked with me, brought me on board, you did have a booth.
Yes.
I think you already had that booth in place, right? And if memory serves, it was a vocalbooth.com booth.
It was. Yeah, we were in the extra bedroom. It was before Jackson was born, and when my wife told me she was pregnant with Jackson, then we were in a 3-bedroom place, and I have a daughter, and so I'm like, my quick math tells me I either need to find a new space. I'm getting kicked out of there because the darn
Someone's gonna
kid
go.
is going to take. So it's either me or him, and apparently it was me that had to get kicked out. So yeah, I had a vocal booth, worked fine, everything was good, and then I had to relocate.
And for timing reasons, time-wise, when was your son born? When was
this was 2010, January 2010. And then I was like, George, I got a situation here. Now we were either going to move to like a 4-bedroom place and start all over with the vocal booth, or I had some space on the side of my house that allowed me to expand on the house. So we built. So I guess from a real estate standpoint, this area is the master retreat. So George designed this bad boy so we could I could stay in the comfort of my own home and be able to have this wonderful studio setup.
It's been a long time since this was done. Do you remember it? What do you remember? Was there anything fond you remember of the process, or was it rather?
No. The short answer, no. Oh my God, it just took. I mean, dealing with city permits and contractors and it took twice as long and cost twice as much. Ultimately, and but the end result, I can't deny. I mean, this is so great. I'm so proud and happy and comfortable with what I ultimately have. But going through the process was the biggest pain in my arse. I can think of.
The results, if you have the time, patience, resources, are amazing. I've gotten to work on so many cool custom studios, and if you guys ever want to see them, I have links on the site for my studio gallery. There's so many cool, unique builds, but it's getting harder to do it. It's getting much more expensive, and so things like the vocalbooth.com is becoming the reality for a lot more voice actors, right? And the quality of those products is getting better over time. They're getting better built, easier to assemble. Ventilation's getting better, so all those things are improving. But so you've got an ISO booth, and obviously right now you're in let's call it the office, I guess. This is some might call it the control room, but this is your office. So and that room's treated too, right? So years later, after the studio was done, you decided, I'd really like to be able to be out here more often. Do I always need to be in there? And I was like, well, maybe if we treat the office room acoustically, you could be out there more often and sit at the desk. And so are you finding yourself, you're spending more time outside the booth than you thought you would?
I am. I do probably 80-90% of my auditions right here. And then the other 10-20% that I feel need the booth, I use it. And of course, all my sessions are in the booth. But yeah,
you go in the booth when you need, I like to say, quiet on demand.
Yeah. And then some, actually, matter of fact, in some of the auditions I'd be here, and if the gardener or airplane, helicopter, whatever, I'm like, okay, it's maybe not so great. I'll do this one in the booth. And of course, it solves that issue immediately. So that's where the the other 10% of the time where I'm like, okay, I will go in there and stuff. But yeah, I find it just I'm generally more comfortable, and I don't have to go back and forth and stuff. But works out really well, and so I can't complain. Only times, I would. Like some of the video game auditions where they want to also use the audition to see how your room sounds too, because they're like,
Right.
Since the pandemic, before the pandemic, every single one of my video game sessions was in town in LA. I'm in the Orange County area, so it's a
Bit of a commute. Yeah.
it's a little commute, but it was workable to go into LA for video game sessions.
Sure.
Since the pandemic, it's probably been about 50-50 now that I can either go in or do them from here. But if we do them from here, they want to make sure it sounds pristine.
Oh, they are the pickiest of the picky, the video game ones,
yeah,
right?
yeah, because they've been burned, I guess, from clients that or actors who say they've got a broadcast quality and it's not as broadcast quality as they may have let on.
Well, it might be broadcast quality when they did the audition, but during the session, there's all sorts of interruptions, noise issues, or they have you get back from the mic and it sounds hollow and boxy. And that room you're in has got to be one of the best. I would have to imagine it's probably one of the best home booths they've probably heard.
Yeah, it is. They do seem kind of like, wow, no, this sounds amazing. And I'm like, brought to you by GeorgeTheTech.com. or George the wait, give me the website.
Wait, how is it going? What is this dumb brand name you came up with again?
George.the.tech.
GeorgeThe.tech.
Thank you. I was like, if I'm going to say it, I might as well say it correctly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and that's so cool, man. I mean, video games are the torture test. And when I have voice actors who are newer or don't have a true ISO space and they're like, yeah, I'm trying to get video games. I'm like, you're not going to be doing those at home, probably. Not for a long time. Yeah. Those are the most stringent. Another sidebar, you had a unique way to get to this. Well, I guess not that unique, but you used to get into the studios quite often from Orange County, but you didn't drive a car.
No, I rode a motorcycle. Gosh, since I was like a junior in high school, I've been riding motorcycles. And
you still have one now?
I hung up the helmet once and for all recently. Yeah, again, like the pandemic was kind of like the deciding point because again, before the pandemic, I'd still go in early in my career. I'd started 2004 in voiceover, and I was going into LA for mostly at that time is either meeting a coach or taking classes. Obviously didn't have a lot of work back then, but when I would or a lot of auditions would be Elaine Craig and so many the voice caster Bob Lickett over there. And but so
you were in and out of the city a lot.
I'm going almost every day of the week, going back and forth, and it's about a 50-mile one way, so 100-mile round trip. And sometimes I'd go there in the morning, they'd call me back in the afternoon, and I have to go back again, another 100-mile round trip. So I was going there all the time, and between traffic and then of course cost of gas and then
risk to life and limb.
Well, but I was using it. It was go between cars. It's no problem. And I'd get to LA in like a half hour, 45 minutes. Where if I was in a car, you're talking two plus hours in some cases. Yeah. So I would ride the motorcycle in, and it started to become like a calling card. A lot of the times the sessions, I come in with my leather jacket, I'm looking like a Harley dude or whatever, and it was just, let me put my helmet here, my stuff here, and it worked out really well. And then the pandemic hit, and nobody was going anywhere. And coming out of the pandemic, it was becoming just less and less. And with this studio, it's like hell. It's cool. You can stay there. And,
what was the last motorcycle that you had?
Oh, it was a Vulcan Vaquero. It's kind of like a Harley-like cruiser.
It's a Kawasaki, right?
Kawasaki. Yeah, my dad retired from Kawasaki, so he would get these great discounts from employees. Like if a bike was on a display model at a dealership, they
Sure.
would, even though it had 0 miles on it,
Yeah.
they'd turn around and sell it to the
It had
employees.
fingerprints all over it.
Yeah. And so I would be able to get it for like half of wholesale
That's awesome.
cost or something. And then I'd sell it after 6 months. I had to hold on to it for a year or 6 months. And then I'd turn around, sell it, and actually make a profit, and then buy another one and then start it all over again. So it was a really cool gig. But then as I was getting, the bike was sitting in the garage longer and longer because I wasn't
Yeah.
having to go into LA. And I'm getting older and older. The reflexes are not what they used to be. And
Yeah.
I was playing with house money here. I didn't want to push my luck here.
Yeah. More near misses and things that make
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah, but it was efficient and helpful, and got me from A to B.
that's so cool.
Well,
I remember that very well, that you had the motorcycles. So your studio, by modern standards for voiceover anyway, I would say is more complex than many, because you have a booth and you have the workstation at your desk. And in the booth, because, this is the way it was done 15 plus years ago, you have a mixer in there, right?
Yep.
So yeah, you've got a big, pretty good sized console that's in that room. And then you've got mic preamps as well. So getting into the numbers here, you've got a Grace M103 and another Grace M103 as a backup, right?
I do.
And before that, you had Avalon 737 preamps, which are tube based. And I convinced you to switch out to the Grace. Sorry, Avalon, we love you. But I just didn't want to have a maintenance issue for him with tubes. And so we've got the Graces in there. And Grace I also love because I know the owners of Grace, Evan and Mike, and my cousin worked with them for years. So I'm biased. And now I know the guys that run, I know the guys that repair all the Avalon gear too. So I both have a lot of love for both companies. But Grace is solid state, no tubes, very, very clean, extremely low noise, low distortion, great preamps. You never have to think about it, just works, right? And then the mixer, you've had a couple mixers over the years. You had Mackie mixers, which I would always install.
Yep.
So Mackie mixers were the thing for a long time, but then one of them started to flake out, as these things tend to do. Buttons get scratchy and stuff. Weirdly, we ended up with a mixer I never thought we would ever have in your studio, and it's a Tascam brand mixer.
Yeah.
And they're not certainly what most people think of for mixing an analog mixer. First, it's also analog. It's a weird mixer. It's a hybrid. It's called the Tascam Model 12, and it's analog and it's digital. So it looks and feels like a traditional analog mixer, but it has full digital in and out through USB. It has MIDI control so that you can control software from the mixer. All things we don't do at Chris Fries' studio.
But I can if I wanted to.
Yeah, the mixer is woefully overkill. It even has onboard recording, does all kinds of stuff. But I heard really good things, that it was a reliable, well-built mixer, and that's really what I cared about the most. Is it well-made? It's not overly huge. It'll fit in his space on top of his rack. Yeah, it's a compact size, but with the quality of a much bigger mixer and the capabilities of a bigger mixer. So the Model 12 is in there, and that's sort of like your control for your headphone level, your microphone level. So if you're a mid-session, you can easily just reach down and turn up or turn down as the studio directs you, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And then we have another little box in there. There's a couple little gadgets in there. You have something called is this the Gold Digger? I think it's the Gold Digger.
Yes. Yeah. Just
the Gold
for the
Digger.
mics.
So because of the way the studio is routed and the setup and the fact that we want to use one mic preamp and don't have to, we wanted to simplify his workflow and be able to switch between microphones really, really easily. We have this thing called a Gold Digger. And so your 416 and your Vanguard, I believe you have a V13 tube.
Yeah,
mic.
it's hard to see with the reflection there, but I've got the Vanguard and the Sennheiser.
Yeah, they're both feeding into that. Gravedigger.
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 I was going with
Sunday,
it.
Gravedigger. It's definitely time for lunch. those feed into that Gold Digger, which is a very high quality mic switcher that,
Yeah, it's been
and then that
reliable.
feeds into the rest of the setup, right?
My
Do you
favorite
also have,
button.
do
My
you have
favorite
another
button
button
on
in
that
there?
one, the button on the Gold Digger is my favorite button. It's the mute or cough button on there. So it is to quickly click that and to relieve whatever bodily function I may
Yes.
have emit. I can quietly do so and then click right back onto the mic of choice. But yeah, I use that all the time.
It's super important, and it does that silently. There's no big
Yeah.
click or pop. Nobody would know you're really cutting a mic or anything. You're just there, you're back, and
Yeah.
so that's really cool to have all that. So that's all going on inside the booth, and a 20-inch or so monitor on the wall
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
all run through a tube in the wall, all the cabling.
Yeah, it's dark
right?
right there, but yeah, that
Yep.
is exactly. It's great because of being able to slide a script from say this monitor over there, if or my Twisted Wave window or the Source Connect window or something, just so I can have that stuff over there, or if it's a
Yep.
Zoom window, stuff like
Yep.
that. For sure.
That's right.
For
Just
sure.
drag it over. And the reason why you're not mirroring, because a lot of people, the more technical people will go, why doesn't he just have the two screens mirrored? Well, you guys have to see the size of the monitor on Chris's desk.
Yeah,
It is massive.
What is this, like 37
No, it's more
inches?
like 49 inches
49.
wide.
Okay.
I remember when we opened the box, I was literally laughing out loud.
It is awesome.
It's one of those wide curved, I think it's a Dell brand monitor.
It is a Dell. It is a Dell. Yeah.
Other companies make them, LG and Samsung and stuff, but this was I think Dell was the first one to do one like this. And it is an amazing monitor, but because it's so large and wide, you can't mirror it to a standard small screen.
Yeah.
One of the two is going to look terrible if you do that right. So you just drag over to the other screen.
Yeah.
And then in the control room side, there's a lot more gear. The center point of the whole thing is an Apollo, and we don't use any of the magic stuff the Apollo does with processing and everything. It's just a high quality audio interface, right? But it does allow Chris to switch between using a mic in the studio, or the mics in the studio, or the mic at his desk, right? So you've got presets. One is desk mic, another preset is booth mic, and you can just choose between them and switch as needed. And that makes it really seamless, right? For switching between sitting at your desk doing a Zoom like now, or
multiple times a day. Yeah,
recording.
multiple times a day. I switch back and forth. It's super handy and very reliable.
So that's there, and there's more. There's also a PreSonus monitor station, monitor controller, which that predates. I think that predates the Apollo, I believe.
I think it does. Yeah.
And honestly, we could pretty much do everything that does with the Apollo. It's a little bit redundant, but it's still simpler to operate because you have a dedicated monitor speaker knob that only does that one thing. And there is a nice talkback function on that Apollos didn't have back in the day. So if he's got somebody over and you need to talk to them, I don't know how often you ever do this, but it can do that if you need it.
Pre-COVID,
Pandemic,
but yeah, now it has not been as often.
Don't really need it, yeah. And it's got headphone jacks and all kinds of stuff. It's really meant to be for studio, like music studio, but it's there, and it just sort of sits there and does its job and doesn't get in the way, right? There's also backup hard drives. There is a very powerful but compact little Mac Mini M1 or M2 in there that's purring away. And then let's see. I think that pretty much rounds up all the gear out there. Monitor speakers.
The monitors, the Yamaha monitor speakers.
Yep.
I don't know what model they are.
I don't know if they're HS5s or something like that.
Also, the other gadget that you set me up with in the is connecting my cell phone to phone patch sessions.
Oh yeah.
That I use just about daily too, because some of the like promos, for example, I've got some of the networks that just do phone patch where I'll record on my end, they'll just direct me over the phone, and I could have the my phone cell on speakerphone, and then okay, here we go, take one, and then go ahead and record and then upload the file. But this the plugs in over there, and I'll let you describe that. But yeah, I can hear them through my cans, talk to them through the microphone, but I am plugged into the cell phone the whole time.
Yeah, I'm like literally like fumbling around in oh, here it is. It's this tiny little cable that converts from the phone connection to an audio connection, right?
Yep.
Apple calls it the headphone adapter or something like that. And then that's actually, remember now, that's another reason why I like that Tascam Model 12. It has a jack just for that. So it has a mini phone, it's called a TRRS jack, and that goes right to your phone. So your phone plugs directly to the Tascam, and the Tascam gives it that return feed so that they hear you and you hear them, and all comes through your headphones and your microphone. It's so elegant.
Yeah, and I'm able to play back, like if they wanted to hear the last take, I could just play it from the twisted wave there, and it'll feed right into the cell phone, so they hear that fine. So there's great intuitive features within that as well. So very handy.
Gear that have that feature built in is becoming a little more commonplace because of podcasting and having easier ways to patch in, but it's not a given. And actually the Rodecaster, interesting, I have a Rodecaster Pro 2 on my desk here. I had its previous generation, the original. It had that jack, the phone jack. This one does not. They actually took that feature out. And I think it's because none of the phones had headphone jacks anymore. Everybody just wants to use Bluetooth. But the problem with Bluetooth is it doesn't sound as good. It sounds pretty lousy on a phone call. It sounds okay, but it's a definitely drop down in quality over the cable, right? So it's still, just because something's new doesn't always mean it's better for everybody, right? Yeah. So that's why creating unique products for voiceover actors, of course, like this Passport, where it's as much about what it doesn't do as what it does do, so that you can just work more efficiently, right? So So at the end of the day, like for your setup, it's all about as much of it being, I like to say, as much of it is set it and forget it as possible, right?
Yes, and thank you.
Yeah. I mean, we've worked really hard to allow you to connect to clients in every possible way. Source Connect, Zoom, Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, that's right.
Probably Google Meet once in a blue moon, maybe. I don't know. Source Connect. On, and have all these different connectivities and have them just all be at the ready and just work. That's always been the goal. And, I go visit you every 3 months. Sometimes I don't come out because you're like, you can drive out if you want to, but everything's great, which I'm always like,
yay, you don't like that 60-mile drive?
Not always a big fan. Driving there is never a big deal. It's always driving home in the afternoon. That's so brutal. But it's always good to see you. I always enjoy coming to visit when necessary. And it's just so cool to know you after all these years and see your career arc and just see that you're still achieving. It's awesome, man. And, after an hour of conversation, I think I feel satisfied. I think
there you go.
I feel we've had a great conversation today. We could talk for a lot longer. There's so much. I mean, Chris, tell us a little bit before we go that you're a coach. Are you actively soliciting new students, or how is that working for you? How do you handle coaching?
It's interesting that it kind of took a life of its own, because when I first started doing it, it was people would just contact me and say, "Hey, how do you get into voiceover?" Via email and that. And I'm like, "Oh, you take classes, whatever." And they asked me if I did classes, and I did my own classes, and I wasn't at the time, and I would just for free I got like 15 minutes or something. Like, "Hey, I'll listen to you read something, and I'll give you my 2 cents and stuff." And apparently the way that I was kind of describing how to kind of get into this headspace seemed to resonate, and they wanted to kind of, let's do more. I'm like, okay. So then I kind of started to stumble into this and create like, well, I guess what's the going rate for, and I'd be on the lower end of whatever that going rate was, because I'm like, oh yeah, I have not a lot of experience with it. But people seem to really like it, and they'd come back and they'd keep doing it. And this was maybe 15 years ago. No, maybe more, 10 years ago, I guess. But anyway, it would just be that sporadic kind of thing, because that wasn't my thing. I'm not in this to be a voiceover teacher. I'm a voice actor, and that was my first, and still is my first priority. Yeah. And then it started to gather a little momentum, and then I have a great relationship with Chuck Duran, Demos That Rock. And he has clients that will, maybe need a little tuning up before they get their demo made. And we talked to, and he asked if he could send over some clients and stuff. So I was happy to do so. And now that kind of took a little life of its own, and it's great. And I enjoy. I think the thing is too, It seems to be able. I'm articulating certain direction well, and I really enjoy talking about it too. So, between my enthusiasm on the topic and the way that I would kind of direct and simplify the acting process for me, it seemed to work for them. And so yeah, I'm not actively like, "Hey, come and let me teach you." But if people contact me and stuff, and I got some pockets of time here in between golf swings. And
do you vet them in some way? Do you have like a conversation, see where they're at, kind of a thing?
Yeah, I do. For Chuck's clients or new people and stuff, I'd like to have a little kind of a consult call, find out what their background is in acting, voiceover, whatever. If they come from a radio or a theater, what their goals are going forward. Do they have representation? Have they made a demo before? Or have they had formal training before? That way, I kind of know what I'm getting into and how I can best help them and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah. That I do that.
Fantastic.
But it's good.
How do people get a hold of you? Do you still make yourself available through your own email, or do you prefer you be contacted or reached through agents?
well, for the voiceover jobs, but the agents, CESD has been my primary agency for since 2009.
Oh man,
so
that's amazing.
They've been taking good care of me. But as far as like students and stuff, you can contact me through my website, chrisfriesvoices.com. Fries like French fries.
Chris, thanks for hanging out with me today, man. This has been a real joy. We meant to do this face-to-face. I totally spaced it. And so we had to do this.
You just wanted to get the hell out of my place is all. Get back into that traffic.
Usually what it is just I'm getting hungry. I gotta go.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, but I appreciate it, and it's really a pleasure to see you again and chat with you. And I'll see you again next time. You need me to pop in the studio. And,
that's right. I'm already building my to-do list for your next visit. Getting ready for my. Remember
traveling.
Yeah, and I've got already the I haven't bought but we're getting a new laptop for my.
Yes.
Apparently this laptop to travel to on my vacations and have my portable studio set up. This laptop is almost as old as my son. No, I mean, it's old. It's getting up there.
2016 MacBook Pro.
It had a bit of a heat issue there, and the battery swelled up, and that's actually the one we're replacing. The other one is still
that one's still kicking. It's still there,
still doing stuff.
It's still doing stuff. So that'll be the next visit. We'll get you dialed in with the new laptop and get you tuned up for travel again, and have the ultimate lightweight travel kit, and
Yeah.
That's always the goal. And I love how you have a desktop photo. The desktop photo on the laptop is a picture of the laptop with all the stuff plugged into it.
So I know, okay, that plugs there, this plugs there.
Everybody is
and
copying that idea right now. They should be, because that is genius.
It
I don't know
really
who thought of
is.
that idea, but it's genius.
But yeah, that is perfect because I am like, you'll tell it to me, and unless I write it down, I've got other things.
You got
I guess
Post-its and yeah,
I got the Post-it note on the Clarity software.
oh, the Clarity VX noise
VX.
removal, right? Yeah.
And how do I do that step by step? Because
Right.
you'll tell me, and I'm like, got it. And 5 minutes later, I'm like, wait a minute, what was it again?
It's the whole use it or lose it problem, and you know,
totally.
not everybody is lucky enough to have a photographic memory and just internalize. You have to do things repetitively, and you know,
Yeah.
travel is not something most of us get to do constantly. So by the time you take that next trip, you're like, oh my, how does all this stuff plug in
Oh.
again? And oh no, you know.
No, totally, 100%. So there you
Oh,
go.
that's great, man. Thanks so much. It's always a pleasure. It's even hard to end the conversation. We're
I
having
know.
such a good time. But I appreciate you, Chris. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Have a great afternoon. We'll see you later in the summer.
See ya.
George the Tech.